My name is Jeff Pearcy, and it is my pleasure to serve as worship associate this morning. Every generation has a threshold time that forever changes society and individuals. My generation's threshold was the year 1968. Life was different in 1967 and forever changed by the events of 1968. Some remarkable strides were made, but the fabric of our country was torn apart and at war. It was the year of the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, a turning point in that war. President Johnson chose not to run for re-election. There were strong leaders. Robert Kennedy began his run to the presidency. Reverend Martin Luther King was pushing for equal rights. Robert Kennedy was assassinated. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. Riots happened in more than 100 cities, leaving 39 people dead, 2,600 injured, and 21,000 arrested. I was a sophomore in college in 1968. Young people were leading the protest movements. We were not able to stand on the sidelines. We made choices about the draft, about war, about who we were. We got in the streets. We raised our fists and knocked on doors to change elections. We made our voices known about race. We got in the streets. We were forever changed. Of course, we messed up. We had no understanding of our privilege as young white people. We talked when we should have listened. We often shouted even if we did not know what we were shouting about. Many things changed after 1968, but we still exist in a racist society. We are still divided politically. We still are willing to shut down voices, stomp out dissent, and yearn for a yesterday that actually never existed. I don't mean to discount the enormous strides that were made post-1968. Our modern society of fair housing, the feminist movement, access to education and health care are all part of the progress that was made. Like all thresholds, we bring things in when we enter and we leave things behind as we depart. In 1968, I left behind my innocence and my naivete. I took along a willingness to work for change. But now, I believe we are in the midst of a new threshold period of time for an entire generation of young people. This generation will define itself by the COVID-19 pandemic, the impact on education, the economy, world affairs, politics, and racial disparity. The shutdown has put our country and this generation into a pressure cooker. Like in 1968, the fear dominates the protectors of the status quo. Racial disparity has been demonstrated in the rate of infection and death in minority communities by the preponderance of minority people as essential workers, especially that are not directly part of the healthcare delivery system. The first of the explosions of the pressure cooker were triggered by violence against African Americans. This next generation will be defined by this threshold event. How it responds will shape every aspect of the world. In the aftermath of 1968, meaning could only be created by reflection, action, and involvement. I refuse to be bullied by the saying, "America, love it or leave it." I came to the frightening conclusion that I had to be part of the solution. Otherwise, I was the problem.